Good day and welcome to another edition of Outside Genie. We will be racing on the Fairview Polytrack today, the 12th of April. Yeah, today is the first leg of the World Sports Betting Challenge. They will be racing today over 1,200 meters, a very interesting card. Just before I start doing the preview, for those people who would like to have receive our daily analysis, we have a special offer from today till the end of the month, 200 Rand. Yesterday, again, at the Val, we gave you Castellano 10-1. And also in the last race, we give you Anatura. Anatura jumped at about 5-1, but I think was early in the betting, and the day was 8-1. So definitely, yes, I see it was one of my value bets, and it was 8-1 Anatura, and I jumped at 5-1. And then, as I always said, the other horse that we gave you was 10-1. So surely we do give you value for your money. We also managed to tip a few exactas. Not a lot of outsiders winning today and yesterday, but that's how it goes sometimes. Now here we kick off with the Polytrack race 1 at the maiden plate over 1,200 meters. Let's have a look at the betting. Here we have number 1, Emerald Flow at even money. Aces Queen, Q Cosas 5-2, Just So Easy 10-1, Shindy 12-1, 14-1, Showtime Baby, Canelia 14-1, and 16-1, and longer the rest. Now here in my first race, I'm going for number 1, which is coming from Joburg Janssen van Vieren stable. The only horse they're sending down. This horse has run against some decent opposition. Here you can see Bequest in the line. Bequest, I think, is a 3 or 4 time winner already. And here we have Vian Spy, which is not a love bomb. So you can see that this horse has run against some decent opposition. And I think if it takes to the Polytrack, which there shouldn't be a problem because it has run at the gravel Polytrack before, then this number 1, Emerald Flow, should be too good for this field. Then I'm going for number 2 for outsider selections, number 2 and 6. Number 2 is Energy, the Jared Rack stable. Keegan Stein, draw free. This horse is going to go to the front. I was surprised last time not to see the horse at the front. I think this horse runs better from the front, but it was drawn 7 out of 8, so maybe that was the reason for that. But has got some good form on Poly, and I think number 2, Energy, certainly I would think the biggest opposition to number 1, Emerald Flow. If number 1 flush his line, I'm sure number 2, Energy, will be around. And hopefully Jared Ruck can get his first winner. I really hope so for him. Then my other outsider selection is number 6, Absolutely Fab, Jacques Tradom, Lucas Bester, draw 1. This horse has also run a number of places on the Poly, 2 runs, 2 places, both seconds, over 1,200 meters and a 1,300 meter in a Poly. And lately has been there and thereabouts. So certainly win some. They put those horse over longer distances, but today bringing it back over the sprinter distance, which I think will suit the horse well. Then you also need to include number 4. I think number 4, Q Coast is also due to win from the Greef stable, Greg Shane, draw 3. Also a horse that is definitely in with a huge chance in this race. So let's move on to race number 2, which is another maiden plate over 1,600 meters for fillies and mares. And here we have number 1, Corsage 3-1, 53-10, Sonoma, Latifa's Queen 7-2, Far Out 7-1, 8-1 Royal Windsor, Kai 5-1, Queen Louise 14-1, 22 and longer the rest. So here we have, then again, now we have Cliffy Miller having his first race here on the Poly today, since he relocated from Durban, and he's bringing this Flower Alley by Al Mafti May to PE, where this horse has run before in Gauteng, where it did cup around 1 or 2 places. Then it ran a few places in KwaZulu-Natal, and now it finds itself here in PE. And I think looking at the opposition that he ran against, surely he should have a decent chance in this race. Number 1, Corsage, unfortunately just drawn 10. That might be a bit of a disadvantage, certainly, but for that would probably have a good bet. But since drawing from that draw, it can be a bit of a problem on the Poly. So my outsider selection is number 2, Far Out, Gavin Smith, Marco van Rensburg, draw 2. This horse shows a lot of pace and is the type of horse that can jump and go. Has got a few runs in Cape Town and then came and run under the turf. But I think maybe under Polly might be better suited. First time under Polly today, should be included into your bets. My other outsider selection is number 5, which is Kai. Kai has also run a number of places on the Poly before. It's always there and thereabout. I'm not sure what happened last time, but I think maybe the distance was too far. Now back to a 1600 meters. Watch out for Kai. Put him in a quartet and trifecta selections. Here's number 6, Latifa's Queen. Also a horse that Lyle Hewitson is riding, and I see he's riding lately for Gavin Smith. I think he picked up 2 winners on last week for him. His draw 4 has also been running there and thereabouts, and I'm thinking number 6, Latifa's Queen, definitely for inclusion in all of your bets. So then let's move on to race number 3, which is the merit rated 68 handicap over 1600 meters class E, average merit rated 62. So let's have a look here at the betting. The betting number 5, False Power, also against Cliffy Miller, hoping for a double. Full score 4-1, Winter Vacation 9-2, Baltic Beat 13-2, Merrily 10-1, 11-1, Precious Zone, 10 Basilicanto 4-1, 15-1, and longer the rest. So here my first selection in race 3 is number 3, and that is Baltic Beat. Baltic Beat is running now today in a 62, but has run against and slightly stronger. Didn't fare too bad, and I feel with Lyle Hewitson, although jumping from draw 9, must have a huge chance. Has been running against strong opposition. Last time out, ran in a small future behind Tiger in the Sun and wasn't disgraced, only running behind 4.25. Now back in the class that he's been running, and he's been running well, always there and thereabouts. You can see 0.3 lengths, 1.85. I think Lyle Hewitson is going to be too good today in this field. My outsider selections is number 1, Mary Lee, getting a -half. Shannon Cotson, a stable, is in form. This horse also has run against some decent opposition here and there, did manage to win a novice. And then after the novice won another race, so now 3-time winner, Mary Lee, definitely not to be discarded. Here we have number 2, Precious Stone from the Jacques stable. It's a horse that comes from Gauteng. Has had 2 runs. I see last time out crop drop, but I think do include number 2, Precious Stone. I think will run well today in this race. Then you can also look at number 5, the favorite, False Power. Has also run against some decent opposition in Natal, and certainly must have a huge chance here. Calvin Habib, drawn 7. Calvin Habib has run in quite a number of winners for Cliffy Miller. You can see here 36 and 3 wins, so just under 10%. Number 6, Full Score. I'm not sure what to make of this. This horse did win a maiden last time out, but before that didn't show much. But maybe Full Score bit Homer Fidgen. Homer Fidgen came home smoking a pipe last week, so surely that must enhance number 6 Full Score's chances. So let's move on to the next race, which is race number 4. Now, race number 4, I'm not going to dwell too long. And this is a field extremely bad form, and with biggest respect to the trainers and the owners in this race. The only 2 horses with form in this race is number 1 and 2. Number 2, Inner Space, Ideal Will by Jotpot, coming from Kenilworth. Last time out, ran second behind Vision of Fame, and I think for me, it was a difficult decision behind Pacific Duke and Inner Space. Pacific Duke drawn 9 and Inner Space drawn 2. So I went for the better drawn horse, but number 1, Pacific Duke, also in with a huge chance. Last time out was clear and was looking to have the race in the back, and then was run down by Super Noir. Super Noir got up on the line over the 2-2. Today they're going over the 1900 meters, so it's going to be interesting to see what the pace is going to be, and and who lands up in number 1 box. Red race, and then for outsider selections, but by no means certainties. I went for number 5, Highway Star. Highway Star looks if he can, with Lyle Hewitson on board, drawn 10, can probably run a place, as well as number 9, Tinted Visa, Ziexman Oosthuizen. The horse has been running there and thereabouts, and in this field can easily, be running into the places, so include in the back end of your quartet and trifecta selections. Billy Ann is also a horse that has run a few places. Definitely you need to include Billy Ann in all your quartets and trifectas. And then move on to race number 5, which is a merit rated 73 handicap over 1900 meters. And here the betting is as follows. Number two, I forgot to do the betting here. The betting was number 2, Inner Space, even money, 12 to 10 Pacific Duke, 9 to 2 Wild Distractor, 14 to 1 Highway Star, 14 to 1 Tinted Vision, 25 to 1 and longer the rest. So here's race number 5, Nijinsky Sun, 4 to 1, Bush Fever, 9 to 2, Ancient Times, 9 to 2, Captain's Vista, 7 to 1, Sanford Day, 15 to 2, Super Noir, 9 to 1, 14 to 1, Imperius Duke, Capernaum, 18 to 1, 18 to 1, Global Canyon, 22 to 1, and better the rest. Yeah, I'm going for the outsider, and that is number 12, Global Canyon. Now, the reason for that, Global Canyon is actually unfortunately carrying a kilogram overweight, but still only 53. Now, we won his maiden a few runs back, and then run some decent races behind. Orion Express has now won, I think, 4 races out of 5. And last time out was slow, lost crop, but was running on a little bit. The thing that caught my eye about Global Canyon, you'll see here also second fastest 400 to finish, fastest 400 to finish, second fastest to 400 finish. And I think coming from draw 2, Global Canyon with this lightweight today will surely be a contender. And also here is Captain Vista. Also, I think is in with a huge chance. You see a course and distance 26 runs, 2 wins, 3 places, 4 thirds and a 5th, but is drawn 12. But has also been running well. Ran behind Nijinsky Sun. Last time out with beaten 1.5 lengths, then there was a 4 kilogram difference. Now today Nijinsky Sun is carrying 57.5, so there is a 2.5 kilogram turnaround with number 13 Captain's Vista. And I think it also says here behind all in line. Last time out ran on well, so I think this 8-year-old can't be called yet. Definitely there's some life left in him. Then my other outsider selection is number 7, which is Sam Verde. Sam Verde also relocated from Natal, has had 2 runs on the turf and has been running on well from behind. If you can see here, ran on well, slow, lost. Today getting the -1.5, but going on the poly, and that's only been on a poly once. And I think this horse being given a green light by Trippy Mare, surely the poly would suit. So definitely watch out for number 7, San Verde. So then we move on to the next race, which is race number 6, over 1,000 meters, fillies and mares, where the betting is as follows. Number 3, Lady Catherine, 5 to 2, 53 to 1, Lumaray, Natural Jade, 6 to 1, Storyland, 8 to 1, Valerama, 10 to 1, 10 to 1, Law and Order, and 11 to 2, 11 to 1 in Full Bloom, 22 to 1, and longer the rest. Here my first selection is number 1. I've been following this whole Storyland. Storyland had a merit rated of 84, now down to a 73. Lyle Hewitson again for Gavin Smith from draw 7. Now this horse has been coming down in the ratings and has run against much stronger than he'll ever find in this race. And I think based on that today, number 1 Storyland at 8 to 1 today must be a huge runner in this field. Then my outsider selections is number 5. In full bloom. Also, an ex-Joburg Gord used to be with Sean Terry, now finding this 5-year-old man, finding a PE, Lucas Bester on board from draw 1. And I think this horse has also run against some decent opposition in Gauteng. There you have behind Bequest. Holy Man is also a reasonable horse. Rise is 1. So I think number 5 in full bloom. First time on, has run on a poly before in Natal, 8 runs and 2 wins, so certainly is suited to the track. And I think 5 in full bloom can be a big surprise. Then here we have number 6, National Jade, also running places, has been beaten by Law and Order before, but he is now better off in the weights. And I think 6, Natural Jade, also going to run a huge race today here in this race. And also we can have a look at number 2, Lumine, also certainly in with a chance, always give her the best, and certainly with Greg Shannon board today, must also have a chance. Then we move on to race number 7. Race number 7 is the World Sports Betting East Cape Poly Challenge, 1200 meters, non-black tide. And here the betting is as follows. Number 1, Viking Moon, 11 to 10, 10 to 1, Sullenberger, the Highwayman, 10 to 1, Water Winner, 10 to 1, Earth Hour, 11 to 1, Tarsus, 11 to 1, and longer the rest. Yeah, certainly when they back 10 to 1 the field, then you must know, I think Viking Moon in today for a huge run. On handicap terms, I can't see any horse beating this horse. Something drastically must go wrong for Viking Moon not to win this race today. Has just won 3 races in a row on a coconut. Water Winter is in this race again, but he's way out in the weights, but maybe he can run a place. Then, yeah, I think, and then also some interesting, another number 3, Sullenberger, I think might be his biggest opposition, but was beaten 5.5 lengths by Viking Moon. And Sullenberger worse off in the weights. But what I want to mention is you'll see the trainer here, Jaap Visser. Jaap Visser used to be a top trainer in Bloemfontein. At some stage, he won I think 2 or 3 years in a row. He won the Bloemfontein trainers championship. So he's surely not, he knows how to train the horse. And yeah, unfortunately, if it wasn't for Viking Moon, he might have had his first winner. But I think Sullenberger hard to beat the favorite. Then I just want to mention here, Earth Hour, although short in distance, I think that this horse might give the number 1 a go, but it's going to be too short. But the interesting thing is that over the longer distances, I think Earth Hour is going to maybe win 1 or 2 of these races, because he's certainly, but depending also if they enter Mamara C because I think the Polish Challenge goes over 1200 meters, 1600 meters, and 1800 meters, if I'm not mistaken. But the rest of the guys, the horses here, I think they're running for the places. Here's number 8, Wolfgang. Be sure to include this in your quartet and trifecta selection. I think Wolfgang will also run a nice race. He likes the poly, but he's way out in the weight here, but can place you can include it for your quartets, trifectas, and so on. So let's move on to the last race, which is a Phyllis and Mares handicap, Class D, average merit rate at 69 over 1300 meters. And here the betting is as follows. Number 11, Mesmerizing Moon, 22 to 10, Lender Lovelace 6 to 1, Future 3, 7 to 1, 8 to 1, Waldorf Astoria, Beneficiary 14 to 1, 12 to 1, Quick Wit, 16 to 1, Cloud Atlas, 18 to 1, Under the Mistletoe, Cherry Pop, 18 to 1, 18 to 1, Elusive Diva, New Bell, 22 to 1, and longer the rest. Here, my first selection is down here at the bottom, number 12, which is the stable companion to the favorite, Elusive Diva, carrying 58, drawn to, has been running well lately, and I think must have a huge chance in this race, number 2, Elusive Diva. In outsiders selections in this race for me is number 14, Nova Princess from Cliffy Mirror, but drawn a little bit wide, but has run against some decent opposition in Gauteng and can probably feature in this race here. Also number 17, coming from Gauteng, but also drawn there right on the outside, number 17, but for the draw, this would have been my first selection. But this horse has also run against much stronger opposition. It's now finding herself in a D82, a D69, but it has run in like 91s behind Fire and Ice, Castle Doro, all of them very good horses. Here we have Castellero. Castellero won again yesterday. So give me the go ahead, surely also a very good horse. So 70 quick wit, if it wasn't for a draw, would have been my first selection, but do include in all your play. And then when I have a look at number 11, Mesmerizing, which is the favorite, also I think in with a huge chance. And the battle could be between the two stable companions here. Mesmerizing Moon has run 2 seconds. There's nothing wrong, but yeah, also drawn white at draw 10. Anything is possible. So that brings us to the end of our preview for today at Fairview. I hope I could point you in the right direction for a few winners. And as I always say, break a leg.